Hi, this is Laura from Crafty and today I'm participating in the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop. This hop has been created to support channels affected by the changes to YouTube's requirements for earning money, so some of the biggest names in the crafting industry have come together to create this hop, which features multiple giveaways at each stop, and a total of over 120 prizes can be won. Once you've finished watching my video, just go ahead and click on the link below to head over to the next stop in the hop, and remember to comment on each stop confirming if you're based in the US or you're international. This is really important as some of these prizes are only eligible to be shipped within the US. Okay, so for my technique today, I'm going to be sharing a distress oxide technique using distress oxides, alcohol ink cardstock, and distress glaze. So the colours of distress oxide that I'm going to be using are Worn Lipstick, Salty Ocean and Seedless Preserves, and first I'm just going to go ahead and take a mini ink blending tool and just lay down a flat amount of colour on the background here. So I'm not being careful to make sure that this is blended very well, as this is just the base colour. You can skip this step and just start straight in with the ink smushing, but I prefer to lay down this colour first of all and then take my distress sprayer, and I'm just allowing some larger water droplets and some smaller water droplets to sit on that cardstock, and then I'll take a paper towel and lift that up, and you can see the way that kind of removes the ink and kind of oxidizes wherever the water hits. So I'm working here just on a laminated piece of cardstock, and that's a really great way to be able to see the true colour of the ink that you're placing down on your mat, and it's really easy to clean up, so that definitely helps with a messy technique like this. So once I had that ink laid down, I just went ahead and sprayed that with my distress sprayer again, and there's just water contained within that bottle, and then I'm smushing the cardstock directly on top of that, and you get these really cool kind of fun patterns. Anywhere where there's a bit too much ink, I'm just going to use a paper towel to kind of sop that up, and in between each one of these layers I'm going to heat set the cardstock. So I'm again just going back in. You can see I haven't needed to add any more ink onto my sheet for this particular layer, and I'm just pressing that into some of those splotches of ink to get some interesting patterns. And you can do this, you can just keep building up those layers and adding more and more colour. Clean off your mat, change up the colours that you're using, and then spray that again, and just keep layering that up. But it's really important to remember to heat set each one of these layers as you're working through. So I'm really happy with how this is looking, and I just wanted to add a little bit more of the Seedless Preserves, which is my darkest colour, so I applied some of that onto my craft mat, added some water, and then used a paintbrush just to add some splashes into the background just for a little bit more interest. Once that's completely heat set, you'll want to take your distress glaze, and you just take a small amount on your finger, or if you don't want to get messy, you can also use a mini ink blending tool that'll fit right into that pot, and you just want to rub that on top of the cardstock. If you haven't used this product, it's designed essentially to trap all of that ink under a sealant, which then means it won't reactivate anytime it comes in contact with water. It also means that you can't stamp on top of this using normal inks, but I'll show you a little bit later on how I get around that for my card. So what that glaze is doing is that's bringing out all of those layers of colours. You can see the difference between the left hand side where it's really creamy and the right hand side where I applied that glaze, and I'm just rubbing that on gently and then buffing off any excess with the towel, and you can see how that brings out all of those interesting colours from those built up layers. So to turn this into a card, I'm going to take a three different size scalloped rectangle dies, and I'm just nesting these on the top of the cardstock and just using some masking tape to hold those in place while I run them through my die cut machine. So once I've run that through my machine, I've got these two frames and also this section that I'm going to use as the centre of one of my cards. I applied double-sided sticky tape onto the back of the largest frame, and I'm applying this onto a blue card base, and I'm actually going to make two cards out of this. I've kind of got the original card design, and then I didn't want to kind of not use that extra frame, so I decided to make another card with it as well. So I've taken some temporary adhesive and I'm just sticking the centre panel inside this card here, inside of that frame, and I've got this stamp here from Mama Elephant, this Just a Note stamp, and I'm attaching that to the lid of my Misty, and then I'm going to use my Versamark to stamp this. So what you didn't see here is I did use some anti-static powder tool on top of all of this because I will be heat embossing, and that's kind of the only way that you can really stamp on that cardstock after you've applied the distress glaze. So here I have that extra frame that I stuck down to another blue note card, and I'm applying white embossing powder onto both of these, and then I'll heat set that to bring out the Just a Note sentiment. As I said, it's quite difficult to stamp on top of this cardstock once you've applied the distress glaze. You could always try stamping down first before you apply the distress glaze to bring out all of those different layers of colours, but this was the way that I wanted to get a nice white crisp sentiment on the top of everything. So once I've got that heat set, I applied some foam tape onto the back of my rectangle, my scalloped rectangle, and I'm going to just nest that right in the centre of this card. And then you can see that card on the left there is completely finished already because there's nothing else to add to that one. So we've got a slightly more detailed card and a really simple card, but it's a great way to get 2 for 1 out of the work that you're doing. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If this is your first time viewing my channel, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Please remember to leave a comment in the comment section below confirming whether you're based in the US or you're international. So if you're in the UK like me, that would count as international, and that will allow you to be entered into one of the prize giveaways. Don't forget to click the link in the comment section below to head over to the next stop, and I hope to see you all again soon. But that's all from me. Bye for now.